So let's jump right into a really fascinating paradox, one that sits right at the heart of Buddhism. We're often told the Buddha was this all-powerful, enlightened being. So why on earth did he seem to suffer just like any normal person? It's a huge question, and it really makes you think about what enlightenment even means.
I mean, think about it. You've got these scriptures that describe the Buddha as, this perfect being with almost limitless power. And yet, in those same exact texts, we hear stories about him getting sick, being hungry, even getting injured. It feels like a total contradiction, right? So what gives?
Okay, so to really understand why this is such a head-scratcher, let's first take a look at just how majestic and powerful the Buddha is made out to be in some of these texts.
Wow, just listen to that description. We're not talking about some local hero here. This is a being whose presence supposedly fills entire universes. The text compares him to Mount Sumeru, this mythical mountain at the very center of everything. Basically, a being so vast that he makes everything else look tiny. That's the scale we're dealing with.
And it's not like he was just born with this power. No, the source material is really clear that this was earned. We're talking about countless lifetimes of compassionate acts, of self-sacrifice, of deep spiritual practice. So the point is, we're being shown a being who is way, way beyond any normal human limitations. Or at least that's what it looks like at first glance.
All right, but here's where the plot thickens. Because those very same texts that talk about his cosmic power, well, they also give us a list of some surprisingly human problems.
And what's so wild is just how mundane some of these things are. I mean, back pain? A splinter in his foot? Having to eat horse feed because there's nothing else? It's just, how does a being whose light fills the universe get a splinter? It really just doesn't seem to add up.
So this is the big puzzle we're trying to solve. How do you square these two completely different pictures? Well, thankfully, a key Buddhist text gives us an answer that's actually super elegant and really profound. And it all boils down to making a really important distinction about what, or maybe who, the Buddha actually is.
Okay, so here it is, the core of the solution. The idea is that the Buddha doesn't just have one body, he has two. And they are fundamentally different from each other.
And this is such a great way to see it. On one side, you have the Dharma body, the Faxe Sen. You can kind of think of this as the Buddha's true, ultimate self. It's not a physical thing at all. It's more like a principle, the embodiment of pure truth, eternal, boundless, completely outside of space and time. Then on the other side, you've got the physical body, the Shunshin. This is the person we know from history, Siddhartha Gautama, the man who was born, who walked around, who taught people. This body was basically a manifestation, right? A vehicle he used to teach all of us here in the human world.
So this is the key insight. All that stuff we talked about, the back pain, the hunger, the injuries, none of that could ever touch the real, perfect, timeless Dharma body. That suffering was only experienced by the physical form he took on to come and hang out with us in our world. And boom, just like that, the paradox makes sense.
Okay, but wait. That just leads to another question, doesn't it? If he didn't really have to suffer, why would he even bother to show it? Why not just show up as this perfect, glowing, invulnerable being? Well, the answer to that question shows just how incredibly deep his compassion really was. It all comes down to this really central Buddhist idea called skillful means, or upaya. The basic idea is that a truly enlightened teacher will adapt their message and their methods to fit the people they're trying to help. So the suffering wasn't a bug, it was a feature. It was all part of a compassionate performance, a masterclass in teaching. You see, he knew that down the line, his followers, people just like us, were going to get sick, they were going to face critics, they were going to have doubts. So by seeming to go through all that himself, he gave everyone who came after him this incredibly powerful example for how to deal with their own struggles.
And this is just brilliant, isn't it? His supposed weakness actually became a massive source of strength for his community. It gave them the perfect comeback for anyone who questioned them. It showed them that, hey, hardship isn't some sign that you're failing. It's just part of the path, a path that even the Buddha himself walked.
And to really hammer this point home, our source brings up this fantastic story from another classic text. It's about the Buddha's loyal attendant, Ananda, who's running around trying to find some milk because he thinks the Buddha is sick. But then this super wise guy, Vimalakirti, he stops Ananda and basically scolds him. He's like, whoa, stop right there. Don't you dare slander the Buddha. He says it's literally impossible for the Buddha's true nature, that Dharma body we talked about, to ever get sick. He's trying to get Ananda to see that he's mistaking the performance for the reality.
Vimalakirti then explains the whole thing. He says the Buddha is only appearing to be sick as a teaching tool.
It's that skillful means again, right? A way to connect with us here in our messy, difficult world. He's meeting us on our level and showing us a way forward that doesn't ignore pain, but actually works with it. So when you put it all together, what do you get? Well, the Buddha's suffering wasn't a sign of weakness at all. It was an act of incredible strength and deep, deep compassion. It was a performance, perfectly designed to teach us and to inspire us. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. If an enlightened being would choose to appear to suffer, just as a tool for compassion, how might that change the way we look at our own struggles, or the suffering we see in the people all around us? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this one.